Mary Barr. I serve as District 5 representative on the council and as Mayor Pro Tem. In the absence of our mayor, the Honorable Jonathan McCollar, who is well but unavailable, I will be presiding this evening. As always, we begin with an invocation and then a pledge of allegiance, and it was my turn to do the invocation this evening too. So I'd like to share with you. This body, year before last, adopted a civility pledge. There's so much going on in the country right now, so you don't have to look very far to see things to be concerned about the breakdown of civility and people getting along. So I'm very pleased to be part of this body that has adopted a pledge of civility. And I just want to read you a couple of highlights from that. The City of Statesboro pledges to practice and promote civility within our governing body as a means of conducting legislative duties and responsibilities. The elected officials of the City Council enact this civility pledge to build a stronger and more prosperous community by advocating for civil engagement, respecting others and their viewpoints, and finding solutions for the betterment of the City of Statesboro. This pledge strives to ensure that all communication be open, honest, and transparent, as this is vital for cultivating trust and relationships. So I'm very pleased to tell you we've all pledged to that and we strive to uphold it. We're a nonpartisan body, and so we're here to work for all the people of Statesboro. And then a little less solemnly, there's some good advice I wanted to share about our opportunities today. Today is a new day. We can begin again, start again. Today we can embrace kindness, practice compassion, stand up for justice, talk to strangers, ask for help, offer hope, listen with our whole hearts, work for the common good, love well, and be that change that we want to see in the world. May it be so. And now I'll ask you to rise, and Representative John Riggs will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Riggs. We're moving down to our agenda, item number 3, public comments. We have no one signed up for this portion of public comments, although there's another portion later in the meeting. Next on our agenda, number 4, consideration of a motion to approve the consent agenda, which I am constrained to read aloud for you, and then we'll ask for a motion to approve. Under our consent agenda, we want to approve the minutes from the council meeting on June 18, from the executive session on June 18. We also are in consideration of a motion to approve the surplus of 2 2014 Dodge Chargers no longer serviceable at the police department. And also consideration of a motion to approve surplus and disposition of various items at Public Works and Engineering Department. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by aye and raise hand.
Aye.
Thank you. So that motion carries. We do approve the consent agenda and go forward. The next item on the agenda is a public hearing in consideration of a motion to approve application RZ 240601. Joe Buckles requests a zoning map amendment from the light industrial zoning district to the highway-oriented commercial zoning district to allow for use of a commercial property at 2735 Northside Drive West. Ms. Field?
Yes, thank you, Madam Pro Tem. Currently, the property contains an unused commercial building on 2.04 acres. At this time, the applicant has not determined the final use of the building, but has determined that the current zoning, which is LI currently, would not be, which is light industrial, would not be in the best interest of future uses of the property. The building was historically rezoned to accommodate a potential light-scale fabrication shop on the property, but the applicant did not take up residence in the property. After passage of the Unified Development Code, the LI light industrial use became a more restrictive zoning district, which requires that the applicant amend the zoning to better market the property. Now, you have seen this, property outlined in red. This was originally for a stone fabrication shop, if you remember. So we did rezone it to LI. Future, but it's right along North Side Drive. And so the future land use map does show it to be in the redevelopment area. The zoning map reflects the recent LI, light industrial zoning that we put up on it. And the subject site is on the top left, property to the east on the bottom right, property to the north on the top left, and the property to the south on the bottom right. Staff does recommend approval of RZ 24-06-01. If this petition is approved by the mayor and city council, it should be subject to the applicant's agreement to the following enumerated condition. 1, approval of the zoning map amendment does not grant the right to develop on the property. All construction must be reviewed and approved by the city. At the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission on July 2nd, 2024, the commission recommended approval of the application with staff conditions upon a 7-0 vote. That is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Field. And so this is a public hearing on this matter. You've heard what it is. I'll now ask for a motion to open the public hearing. Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. A motion and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wants to speak for this request? Anyone present who wants to speak about this request? Now's the time to raise your hand. Okay. Is there anyone here to speak against this request? Is there anyone here to speak for or against the request on this property on Northside Drive West? I'm sorry? Hearing no one speaking for or against, we'll ask for a motion to close the hearing. So moved. A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The hearing is closed. Any discussion, council? Any concerns or questions? Okay, then I'll
So
call-
this is no longer going to be a countertop fabrication
It's been shut
shop?
down for quite a while.
It's been purchased, someone else.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that because that was a special variance, so it's been passed, right? Okay.
Can I
that's
say
fine.
something? I'm sorry. I'm actually the listing agent for the property, and I didn't realize that I had to speak in order to get this approved. I'm sorry.
You don't?
Oh, I don't have to? Okay. Well, Joe Buckles asked me to come just to listen to it, but I didn't know I had to speak. He just wanted the highest and best use for it, and that was what he felt was commercial versus the other.
He's not wrong.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, and we try real hard because folks who don't come here often, it's easy for it just to go past. And so the public hearing is the portion where you identify yourself that you're willing to answer questions or whatever. But thank you for speaking up. So with no further discussion, I'll call for a motion to approve or deny.
So moved to approve.
Thank you. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that item number 5 is approved. And next on our agenda is item number 6, public hearing and consideration of a motion to approve application RZ 240602, Horizon Home Builders request a zoning map amendment from R2 Townhouse to R4 High Density Residential Zoning District on a portion of the 39.97 acre property located on Abbey Road and East Main Street. So we can hear from Kathy and then open the motion. I don't think it matters which order. Ms. Field?
Okay. Currently, the property is a 39.97 acre lot with zoning provided for townhome development. The applicant intends to amend the zoning on a small section of the property to allow for the development of a cottage court directly south of the property owned by N-Market. At this time, the proposed plan for the property shows approximately 213 townhome units, and the applicant would seek to add approximately 7 cottage units to the property. In accordance with the cottage court standards in the Unified Development Code, the cottages would require specific elements such as a central courtyard, which does not include parking, loading, or driveways, which is shown as part of the courtyard on the original sketch plan. The applicant has since submitted a sketch plan to amend multiple elements of the project to bring it into conformance with the requirements of the Unified Development Code. Although it is recommended that the units for the court be amended to allow for 6 in order to allow for additional buffering. So let me explain what is going on here. That is the site plan, and you can see up at the top corner there is a cross-hatching area, and that's the site that we're discussing. If you go on to the next slide. The future land use map shows this to be in the Activity Center, Regional Center character area. The zoning shows the R2, and you can see it at the top right, the cross-hatching, and that is the area that we're concerned about. The HOC was previously zoned, and that was to the north. And so the HOC is going to be an end market. And basically, this is leftover land. So the idea was for them to create a cottage court development. So having said that, the next slide. The subject property is on the top left. The property to the east on the bottom right. The property to the south on the top left. And the property to the north on the bottom right. So again, we're back to the plan, and you can see the cottage court delineated in gold. Now, we brought this to the Planning Commission, and I felt that these cottages, which are going to be essentially 1,200 square feet in size, that this is not an appropriate area for, there's an end market gas station, which is going to be in blue, and then we have Veterans Memorial Parkway along the south side. And I just felt that something needed to be done, that there was no courtyard showing, so it didn't meet the basic requirements of the courtyard conditions. So as a result, we asked the applicant to come back with a revised plan. And this, incidentally, this was turned down by the Planning Commission on a 4-3 vote. So subsequent to that, we worked with the applicant, and he came in with, if you could change the next slide, And this is the revised slide, and you can see that the end market is on the right side, and then the Veterans Memorial Parkway is along the bottom. So what he came in with was a site plan that showed a 10-foot vegetative buffer and a 20-foot building setback line, and the same width along Veterans Memorial Parkway. I felt that because of the incompatible uses with the housing, that it really should be at least a 20-foot vegetative buffer plus the 20-foot building setback, which would give us a 40-foot buffer, and the same along the south side along the bottom for Veterans Memorial Parkway. So that's what I proposed to him, and the applicant was unwilling to move that forward. So, and the applicant is here, I'm sure, to respond. So with that, I felt that that was the best condition. So I have, in essence, voted to deny or recommended denial of this project. Let me find it, sorry. So I do recommend denial of RZ 24-06-02 due to a lack of alignment with the surrounding development area. If this petition is approved by the Mayor and City Council, it should be subject to the applicant's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. 1, approval of the zoning map amendment does not grant the right to develop on the site without approval. All construction must be approved by the city. 2, the property will be required to meet the standards of section 2.4.23 with the initial submission of the preliminary subdivision plan. At the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission on July 2nd, 2024, The commission recommended denial of the application upon a 4-3 vote. That is my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Field. I need to call for a motion to open the public hearing, please.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
So the public hearing is now open, and I know Hayden's going to come talk to us. Is there anyone here who wants to speak for the request?
Other than Hayden.
Good afternoon, my name is Hayden Rollins, Plessy Gate Bell, and I'm here speaking on behalf of developers. I would like to clarify a few things that Ms. Fields said in her report. This was originally rezoned back in 2022 in fall. We showed about 245 units, townhome units, as well as highway commercial on the other side of Abbey Road. If you're familiar with that area, Abbey Road is the road that currently goes to nowhere. In that layout, we allowed for that extra area for highway commercial. Since that time, InMarket's purchased that corner of East Main. When that happened, it kind of left us with a little bit less highway commercial than what was marketable. So we shifted Abbey Road a little bit, made our townhome development larger, which allowed for additional green space and amenity, but we dropped our unit count down. In that, we were left with this acre triangle that really had no market, really any marketability. Working with staff, we understand that they recommended denial, but through our revision, I believe that we meet all the requirements that the UDO has for cottage courts. Just based on the new layout, we show less than the max units for a cottage court. We allow twice the number of parking spots. Our courtyard's 4 times the size of what's required by the ordinance. We allow for plenty of sidewalk connectivity throughout this development as it builds out. There'll be new landscaping put in. The new UDO, of course, just got passed recently. It has provisions in it that are specific to developments like this, that you have residential and commercial. We have buffers that are in place in that UDO, and that's what these are. So my client is confused by a brand new ordinance, and we're trying to put new requirements to a development that is pretty common throughout Statesboro. You see, there's residential development along the bypass in different areas, and there's plenty of highway commercial that's adjacent to residential as well. So we believe that we fit the ordinance. That's why we ask that you approve our rezoning, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that staff or the council might have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here who would like to speak for this request? Is there anyone here who would like to speak against this request? Anyone here to speak for or against the request? Okay. Hearing none, we will close the public hearing and have council discussion and then a vote. I need a motion, please, to close the public hearing. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So the public hearing is closed. Discussion. Council members, what do you think?
It's your district, what do you think?
I tend to like to support what staff recommends. I hear what Hayden is telling us. I was glad to hear that they increased the buffer, more vegetative than what they came in with originally. But I don't know, I wouldn't want to live right next to the Enmark station. You want to come back and expound further?
I would like to add that through the kind of site planning with InMarket, they have set back some buffers on their side as well. So they won't be able to build right up next to our site. There's buffers that they have in place. The actual convenience store sits a lot closer to East Main. There is a car wash station that will be, I think it's about 40 feet from that property line, but then there'll be additional buffers on their side that they're required, planting and fencing that's required as part of their zoning as well. So, and these are things that most likely the InMarket will be put in place before these homes are built. So it won't be a situation where the potential buyer is misled and they buy the house and then InMarket just shows up. The InMarket's well ahead of what our process will be. And as far as elevations compared to the bypass, our site's well above the bypass, so that will also aid in the sound travel between the development. So, and again, these are for sale units, so the developer's not gonna build something that they think is not marketable and going to sell, and they believe this is a good product for a good place.
So it's the same developer who's doing all the townhomes in there, just trying to
Yes, ma'am.
add some use for this little.
Yes, ma'am, it's a new concept, the cottage court, so this provides them an opportunity to try it out in a small location, something they're really interested in, to try in different areas of town. So this gives them that opportunity to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you're saying the setbacks that you have for the property match the existing, the new?
Yes, sir, they match the UDO.
UDO,
The
UDC.
Unified Development Code, or
What
Unified
code
Development
is
Ordinance.
UDC? Okay, gotcha. Okay, Ms. Field, do you have anything to add or respond?
Just that they will end up losing one of the units, the one on the left that's sort of indented into the courtyard. And also, I did feel that an additional 20 feet of a vegetative buffer would be really important for, you know, the fact that there's going to be a car wash as well, I think it gives me pause. So I just think that all those uses with the lights, with the noise, with the car wash, it's just not a really good place without a lot of vegetative buffer to be in place.
Gotcha, thank you. So, Mr. Rollins, your client is not interested in adding that buffer that the city is
Well,
requesting?
it already, the site's 1 acre. It's very small. If you impose double what's in the ordinance, the site really doesn't become a viable option, and it's not viable currently as it sits today. So what we're trying to do is give it some marketability, some value, some tax value to the city. Like I said, and this is just a rezoning request. We have to come back again with a sketch plan. That's when a lot more detailed planning is normally done. This is a lot more detailed than what's typically required for a rezone.
Do you have a comment?
I do have a comment, and I typically don't say anything doing these. The point that Ms. Field points out about the car wash is significant. And I will only share with you that we've had other locations in town that are much more commercial. In fact, down on Fair Road, if you remember that car wash right down by the fire station. And when that first car wash was first built, they didn't have I guess like mufflers, and it was about to drive the nursing home across the street from them crazy. I mean, it was, management was really concerned, and so I just raised this point that and I know, Hayden, you don't want council to vote against you. Staff doesn't want, but I believe that we're not in a position that we have to rush to find a solution. I think we really do need, because if you're selling these units, and and we want people to buy homes in Statesboro, but we would hate to have council approve this, then you throw up a car wash, and then we have people that have invested in a home, and they can't satisfy, they can't enjoy the home because the car wash happens all the time. And so, and I'm just, to give council an opportunity to have, we're not gonna design it in here in front of city council, but to have a chance to talk with Hayden and his client, and to see if we can find a solution. We want people to take advantage of the UDC. We want you to take advantage of it, but we also need to protect future investors in our community.
So just to respond to that, it was something that he said, but to respond to something that you mentioned, which was the Southern Manor down there on Fair Road. Southern Manor's been there for 30 years before that car wash showed up. The car wash will be there before the people buy the homes. The car wash, all that'll be done,
And I
correct?
will add too.
So
that-
when
that
somebody
car wash
buys
is-
that property, they're gonna know what's next door. So I think, I mean, I think your analogy is important, but I think it misses the point that when somebody buys that property, the development will be there. They'll know what they're getting into. And let's face it, nobody's washing their car much past 9 o'clock at night anyway. So I don't anticipate that being, maybe on Fair Road where there's lots of college students, but this is not a college student area.
And I will add too, that that's a specialty car wash that's across from Southern Main. It opens straight out to the Southern Main. This would be pointed the other direction. It's just a single.
Let me say, they
gas
they
station car
fixed
wash.
the problem down in front of Southern
Sure.
Manor. They came in and they made sure they had a new system that it went away.
Sure.
But for a couple of years, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
Like I said, we can work through these things in the sketch plat process. We'll have to come through the meetings again, and we can put a lot more effort and time and energy into planning with staff to come up with a solution, rather than,
Again, when we get to the plat, then that's what you're talking about.
the preliminary plat, before we go to the engineering design. So it's just the sketch plat that's a lot more, it's a little bit more detailed than what you see on the screen now.
So it feels like our options are to deny, to approve the way you've asked for it, or to approve with the staff condition that Kathy's suggesting with the added buffer. Is that correct, Kane? Is all those our options?
Or the table.
We can table and give them a couple more weeks to talk about it.
Hey, Kane, how do we justify adding additional requirements to a UDC we just passed?
That's a difficult policy question to answer.
See, this is what I'm talking about. If this was a variance or something like that, but this development falls within the scope of the extensive rules we just passed.
We believe we have shown that we meet the ordinance that's in place today.
I mean, truthfully, if they meet the ordinance, we're just supposed to go, because that's the whole point of having the ordinance.
Well, but
Is it
then-
not, Kane?
Well, it's a little different on zoning map amendments.
Okay.
Because zoning map amendments do require further consideration.
And that's the reason we have a public hearing, so
Sure.
these things can be aired and we can take them into consideration. So I'm leaning towards the tabling so they can work more with staff and come back. Is that, I'm looking for a motion from.
Well, I don't think they're gonna do any more work until they know if it's rezoned or not. What's
Well, I
the
thought we were talking
point?
about meeting, y'all meeting and coming back if we table it. Is that a possibility? Hayden?
I mean, at this point, the developer's just looking for a direction. It's, right now, the property doesn't really have any value as it sits today. So, I mean, if the staff wants to table and talk about it more, I'm just saying from our stance, we don't really have much room to give as far as if we double our buffers, that makes that area much smaller, which therefore really takes the unit count down and makes it where it's not a viable development option. So, I mean, we're in favor of the buffers that are in place in the ordinance, the fence, the vegetated buffering that will be done. But past that, that would be something that the staff would, or the council would have to require.
Can always put a taller fence.
I was wondering about taller vegetation.
We're in favor.
We did the same, we did the exact same thing for 5 Points on Northside Drive. We made them build a bigger fence. Because the property and the church behind it was worried about the lights. So we required that they put trees, and then we required that they build the fence at an 8-foot fence.
Yeah, and we're fine with that. The city also has a lighting ordinance that now that it's new, that helps with lighting going to adjacent neighborhoods with commercial lighting.
So I heard what you said, but it's also sounding like maybe y'all need to talk more and come back.
Well, I just want to, and I'm not, no indication of how council would vote, but if they vote to deny, how does that impact this coming back?
Can't come back for 6 months.
That's correct.
That's fine. I mean, it'll stay highway commercial for a long, long time with nothing on it.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's strongly against it, just hearing everybody. I just think that there's a few things that we could come to agreement on to make it work for both parties. I don't think it will take that much. I just think we all need to figure out what that is. What I'm hearing is a little bit more of a buffer. And I don't know if there's anything else that can be done, but I really don't think anyone up here is strongly against it.
So do you
Well,
want to
Can I propose?
We do have to approve a second. It's got to come back to us with a final plat and everything else. So at that point, you can add
That's what I would
adjustments if you need
recommend, if that's enough.
to. That allows them to move forward.
Kathy, do you have any advice about whether we table it or go forward and resolve things at the preliminary plat
I
discussion?
really think that, I would really suggest that we table it and let both parties determine what the final plan should be. Okay? That's what I would recommend.
And that's a lot better than 6
Who's the
more
second
months.
party?
Right,
Us?
yes.
Sorry?
You said parties, who's the second party? Us?
The applicant
city.
And us.
and the city staff.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm calling for a motion.
Motion to table it.
Thank you, Sean. Second? Is there a second to the motion? Jenny, do you want to second that motion?
I'll second that.
Are we, when
All
will
in
it be,
favor?
when will it be tabled till?
Oh,
month.
The
next
second meeting in August?
Yes, second meeting in August. Okay, so the motion is if it's tabled until the second meeting in August?
Oh, no, you could, and I'm saying that we typically don't do planning items at the first meeting, but it's up to council whether you want it at the first meeting or the second meeting. We just typically do the planning items at the second meeting.
Well, 30 days gives them more time. So that's the motion, seconded. All in favor, please signify by aye and raise hand. All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so 3-1, the motion carries to table it for the 30 days. Thank you all. Next, we have agenda item number 7, a public hearing in consideration of a motion to approve application SUB 240603. This is Lots Creek Capital requesting a preliminary subdivision plat on 16.54 acres of property in order to develop a townhouse subdivision of approximately 111 units on Cypress Lake Road. So Kathy, tell us about it.
Yes, this recently came before you for a rezoning, and now this is the next step in the process, which is the subdivision approval. Currently, the property is a vacant lot with a stretch between 2 parcels located in the county. The property was recently annexed into the city with the intention to develop under the R2 townhouse residential zoning, and has been proposed to provide 111 units. With respect to the annexation-specific conditions, the applicant has provided a preliminary plat showing no additional ingress and egress being proposed for the southernmost section of the property, and has removed the originally proposed ingress on the northernmost side of the property. The revisions to the site plan show a number of units that do not trigger the International Fire Code requirement for an additional ingress. And you can see that this is access road that goes back into where the townhomes are going to be located. And the future land use map shows this to be in a developing neighborhood. The zoning map shows the new R2 townhouse zoning on it. And the subject property is shown on the top left, property to the north on the bottom right, property to the south on the top left, and property to the east on the bottom right. And this shows the preliminary plat for the development. And staff does recommend approval of SUB 24-06-03. If this petition is approved by the mayor and city council, it should be subject to the applicant's agreement to the following enumerated condition. 1, approval of this preliminary subdivision plat does not grant site and/or building plan approval as submitted. Project will be required to meet all city ordinances and applicable building codes. At the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission on July 2nd, 2024, the commission recommended approval of the application and staff conditions upon a 7-0 vote. That is my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Field. So we need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second? Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
So the public hearing is now open. Is there anyone here who wants to speak for this request? Thank you, Hayden.
Good afternoon again. Hayden Rollins, Hussey Gay Bell here on behalf of the developers. Try to make this a little bit quicker than the last one. Like Ms. Field stated, annexed and rezoned in the May meeting this year. A few layout changes. We have one access point. We added 5 more units, or up to 111 units, which is well below the max density, which would have been 198 units. We meet all the requirements for the UDC. For the R2 zoning, we have over 2 acres for dedicated amenity space, street trees, landscape buffers, as well as a dedicated landscape plan. We have over 1.5 acres of preserved wetlands, as well as preserved wooded uplands. We're also providing extra detention that will also help with alleviate some issues that are currently taking place on Cypress Lake Road. Recently, we've had some flooding issues up on that street, so we're working with city staff to come up with a solution to help with that. So we've allowed for extra detention for that. A traffic study will be done pending this gets approved and we move on to the next step. And again, I'll be glad to answer any questions that staff or council may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robbins. Is there anyone else here to speak for this request? Is there anyone here to speak against this request? Yes, we have 2 different people.
I have a handout for you guys. And I sent you another handout. I hope you got that. My name's Rob Brannon. I am the son of Bob Brannon, who lives just to the south of the property, the parcel on the left there. When I was 16 years old, I remember I got my driver's license and my dad drove with me down to the intersection of Country Club Road and Cypress Lake Road. And he said, "This is the most dangerous intersection in Statesboro." He said, "Whenever you come here, you need to look at the horizon here and the horizon here, because you have a valley right there and where that road is." And I remember watching the cars come over, and they come over so fast that they go up on their shock absorbers because there's some lift there. And that was 50 years ago, when the traffic in Statesboro was just a fraction of what it is now. The staff will tell me, based on our zoning approval, that the horse is out of the gate, that it's too late to object to this. But I don't think that's the case, because the staff approval, and this relates to the zoning map amendment, said approval of the zoning map amendment does not grant site plan approval. And the applicant must submit a traffic impact analysis to ensure that appropriate right-of-way and traffic calming measures can be implemented. I don't think that's possible. There's no way that appropriate traffic calming measures can be implemented. And I think that's why you're getting a site plan without any type of traffic impact analysis, because there's not one. And when we talk about traffic impact analysis, Mr. Is it Boyum?
Yes, sir.
I guess, I think raised the question last time, when cars come over the hill and they come down to this driveway, how are they going to know to stop? How are we going to make this safe? And I don't think that there is a way to do that. The staff is thinking of traffic impact, in my opinion, as whether there's a right-in lane or a right-out lane, and whether it takes 1 minute or 2 minutes to turn right when you come up and there's too much traffic. But that's not the question. The question is whether we can make the road safe. We have Bethany there, we have Country Club Road coming in, and we have the Olive property just behind Bethany, 360-something acres that has been being marketed to national builders. So you're looking at 200 or 300 homes there. So any type of traffic impact analysis needs to take all of these factors into consideration and try to figure out how we can make this safe. And I submit to you that that's just not possible. I was really disappointed when I got the site plan, and I'll mention again, this is the first time I've had a chance to speak, because both at the zoning hearing and at this hearing, we did not get notice until after the Planning Commission meeting. So some of this probably should have been discussed at the Planning Commission, but we're not getting the notices. And I'm pretty sure nobody here that wants to speak on this thing came to either planning commission meeting, because we weren't getting notices. So I appreciate you giving us a chance to speak about this a little bit today. They gave us, I was disappointed when I got the site plan because it's 111 units. 111. These units are typically 3 bedrooms. That's 333 people, 333 cars coming out of that driveway onto Cypress Lake Road. In order for that to be safe, we need turn lanes, we need a center turn lane, we probably need a traffic circle at Country Club Road and a traffic circle at the end of Jones Street there. It's just not going to be possible. It's not going to be possible. I gave you a handout, and I wanted you to look at that. And if you look at the first picture, that's a development right over behind the Jeep place on the causeway there. They're building brand new. Looks nice. The buildings look good and everything. And what I've shown you is a picture of 3 units on the right and 3 units on the left, so you can get an idea of the mass. The developer's asking for 11 units in a straight line on the right, 11 units on the straight line on the left. And if you look at the driveways, what you're going to see is it's all concrete. There's 5 feet of green space between the driveways, and you can't keep that grass growing. It's going to be dirt in no time. This is going to be 100% rental community, and it's really an issue of the developer trying to take a townhome concept and make it into an apartment complex, a commercial use in a residential zone right between 2 other residential uses. And that's just not appropriate. And what's going to happen, what else you see on that plan is they have a lot of green space because they have some wetlands down there they couldn't deal with. But they're going to take all of that water that's falling down on the houses, on the driveways, on the street, on the driveways, on the houses, and they're going to pump it into what is a humongous detention pond. That's the biggest detention pond I've ever seen. That's going to be hanging right up there over that neighborhood. And as we have traffic rain events, it's going to flood. It's going to flood all of the neighborhood. And that's not acceptable. This is, you have the right to approve the site plan. You retain that right as part of the zoning. And this is a bad site plan too. There's no green space around the units. There's no green space behind the units. And it could be so much nicer. You know, there's a way to do this and to put some units in there. I drew a little picture, and I'm not an artist. I don't know if you have it in those materials. It was on the materials I sent you. But, you know, you could put some units, do a curved road and put some units in there, 4 units. That's still 70 units. But it's 41 units less than what we have. There's a way to do this the right way. And then finally, the last thing, if you look at the last picture, or the second picture, that shows the backs of the units. And I know that this is probably what the development ordinance says, but they have a 10-foot buffer between the backs of those units and our property. So we're going to sit on the porch and we're going to look at 30 of those units. 30 of those units are across our backyard. And I think there's a better way to do it. You have the right to approve the site plan. You have the right to require a traffic study that ensures safety. And I hope you'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. During council discussion, I will be available for questions. There were others who wanted to speak.
I will mention, I also had a title issue with the property. There's a road that goes between our property and this property that has been ignored in the subdivision plat and the site plan. And I'm not sure that they can close that road either. And I've submitted those materials to the city attorney to look at, which is more of a legal issue, but just to clear that out. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there others here to speak against this? Yes, please come and identify yourself.
My name is Linda Kellogg. I was noticing what he was saying there about, is this residential area and commercial together?
No, this is a townhome development.
A townhome. Okay, so we have already changed the zoning.
The zoning has been changed. This is preliminary site approval. They've come back with a drawing of how they want to lay it out. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to ask the residents, homeowners of Sugar Hill to come forward, please. Thank you for the opportunity to briefly share today. I am Glenn Martin, and Sherry
Martin
Thompson will be sharing with you, and we represent the constituents behind us. We have some concerns about the additional units. First, we're concerned about the traffic, the increase in traffic. Just before coming here, probably about 5:05, I took 6 minutes to list the number of cars passing. I live right past West Jones Avenue and Johnson Street. There, 6 minutes, there were 36 cars coming and going right in front of my house. 36 cars within 6 minutes. Also, if you travel in that area, there is a curve right in front of my house. That curve has had several accidents there. It is not safe. In addition to that, we have one resident that I spoke with. She leaves about 7 o'clock in the morning going to work. Right now, she has to wait for about 10 minutes before she can get on the main highway as she leaves Sugar Hill. Also, as I traveled from Walmart earlier today, I was thinking about all these alternate routes that I could take. And I thought about this addition. And if I'm over in that area and, you know, the traffic is so heavy, is there an alternate route that I can take? I don't know. Maybe there's one, but I don't know about one right now. So we are concerned about that as well. We are also concerned about additional policemen. When you have that many people coming into an area, you know that there should be an increase in protection of crime for those persons. So therefore, there will be additional policemen. So I think we need to take that in consideration as well. And then last but not least, I heard you talking about a lake or a pond. Is there any kind of protection? You know, you have patients from Bethany Home. I know they're well protected there, but sometimes somebody may slip out a back door. You have children over in the Sugar Hill area. Some of them are real busy. So therefore, we don't want them moving over in that area and something happens. I hate to think what could happen and what is it that we may do. So I just wanted to share these concerns with you, and Sherry will also share additional concerns. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Martin.
Good afternoon, I'm Sherry Martin Thompson, and having grown up in that area, we knew our neighbors. But now we're coming in with so many townhomes, we do not know them. It's got to increase the crime too, and that's a risk, especially when some of us getting older as elders, and we have young grandchildren and things around. So we invested in homes and land and stuff. We're not an investor into the townhouses and stuff. So we're gonna be here. And then I'm wondering 5, 10, 15 years, what's gonna happen to the property then? Is it gonna be vacant like some of these that we see around town? Crime, as Ms. Martin was saying, causing more patrolling of the area, the Sugar Hill area. Also, can we even consider getting less units? So that way we'll have more of our natural scenery around, you know, for the children to learn about nature, trees, plants, and stuff like that. So there are a lot that we need to consider other than just approving this at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. One final concern, Mr. Lundy. Why don't you share that at her home there were two
It's on the curve.
on the curve. She's on the curve.
Two cars ran into it, just messed it up, so we had it fixed, and the next couple of years, there'll be another one that just tore it all up in the front, so.
There was somebody coming from town around that big West Jones curve and ran off the road into your house twice.
And you missed that curve, went straight into your front living room.
You know it.
I prayed at your house many years ago.
That's right.
And I did have
Not
to wait
just
and do that, but I
her,
remember.
not just her house, as well as the Davis house
Walter
as
Davis
well.
estate.
Walter Davis, several times they ran into that.
Dangerous curve.
So we just want you to be cognizant of these things, and maybe there's something you can do to prevent. We welcome you to the neighborhood, but we want the neighborhood to be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Martin.
you.
Thank you all for coming. Do some others of you want to speak?
Good evening, my name is Dr. Dan Weathers. I'm a retired emergency physician. My wife Brenda and I have lived just south of this proposed development for the last 24 years. I don't know any of the laws or zoning or any of that. I'm speaking solely from my concerns. And the biggest one is the density of the housing. I strongly speak in support of developing that area, but to me, the density is excessive for the space that is there. I speak in support also of Mr. Rob Brannon's proposal, which provides for about 70 units. And that allows for green space, sidewalks, trees, and buffers. Currently, there's a 10-foot buffer between the south of this proposed plat and my property. That's less than from here to there. Those apartments are going to be on the edge of my property. And I don't want to be looking at them. Mr. Brandon proposed a 30-foot buffer, wooded buffer with a privacy fence, and that's acceptable to me. But abutting 10 foot from the back of my property just isn't. I'm going to keep it short. I support the traffic study proposed by Mr. Brandon. Traffic is a problem. I exit there and oftentimes wait 10 minutes just so I can safely pull out. And the problem is it's in a valley, and so when you think you're safe to pull out, you start to pull out and there's a car. I mean, just before you know it. At any rate, I'm speaking both for and against this proposed plan. I'd like to see it diminished in terms of volume, but developed in a pretty way to provide a neighborhood, which it currently does not. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Weathers. Others who want to speak either for or against?
Thank you, Council. Darren Van Tassel. I've come before this group a lot of times as a developer, so I'm in favor of being able to do great things for the city. And this is, I'm not into the for or against column, but I would like to raise some concerns that have already been shared. For the record, and just for full transparency, my property is shown on the left up there. Those are one of my lines that are here. But as a developer, I do know that traffic studies, without it so far, I think we really are handcuffed in terms of how we're talking about the development just yet. Because I travel that just like all my neighbors who are speaking. It's a tough one. The sight lines are off, and so we make do, and I think smart people can navigate it. But it is a highly trafficked area right now. I know just as a developer, the traffic studies is what informed us, whether it's the Publix development that we put in, the stadium and the clubhouse in that area. Those traffic studies told us we had to go from 2 lanes to 5 lanes. We had to build another road, and we had to do 2 intersections. So we had multiple ways to get there. I see one in-way in and out piece here. My guess is the traffic study is going to put some real impediments here. And I share some of those concerns already there. I can guess at them. Obviously, we'd have an engineering study with the traffic folks to make us all a little bit smarter. My guess is it's going to tell us that road's not wide enough, that it's got to have more turning lanes, and then that probably could change some of the concerns that we have. We want people to be able to do what they can. But I think the concerns that you're hearing, I just wanted to underscore them and bring that attention, how important, how critical that piece certainly is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Van Tassel.
Good evening. My name is Becky Livingston. I'm the attorney for Bethany assisted living, which is, as been described, south of this property across Cypress Lake, as most of you know. And I came before this, not this particular council, but your former council when we were expanding there. And there were many folks here from this same neighborhood who expressed concerns about traffic then, and legitimate concerns, I might say, up at Country Club and the intersection of Country Club and Cypress Lake or West Jones. That curve is probably infamous in all of the city of Statesboro's history. Anybody who's lived here for any time can recognize, if you just tell them, go around the big curve. I mean, everybody knows where that big curve is. It's so dangerous. It's dangerous for our little folks that live at Bethany. We've tried to do the best we can with that traffic, and I know there have been some studies, or at least some information being warranted and checked out there, so there should be significant statistics with regard to that. I would speak just for this council's purposes of knowing this. When we went to build the lodge at Bethany, which was the first development there, we were told we could not put an entrance off of West Jones down in this area. We were strictly forbidden from that. Now you will see that there is a driveway, but it is gated, and it can only be accessed by fire department. Now that's significant to me as I sat and listened to this, because today's my first knowledge about this. And it's significant because it's not very far from Dr. Weathers' entranceway. And so it's right there. It's even closer, this proposed entranceway, if I'm not mistaken, is closer to that big curve than ours would have been. We didn't want an entranceway there. We moved it on down to directly perpendicular across from Country Club. But we were told we couldn't have one there anyway. But the city came in and told us, the fire department, that we had to have that fire department allowable entrance and exit only, that is controlled by the fire department. In other words, they have a knockdown gate that they can get in, because ingress and egress. And sitting here as a citizen, if I were in the Sugar Hill area or even the Brannons, and these development catches fire, I cannot imagine what's going to happen, because I don't see how a truck can get in there if they couldn't get in Bethany. So I would just bring that to your attention. I think there is a lot that needs to be researched before there's any decisions made about this. And so on behalf of Bethany, because we want to be good neighbors, we've tried to be good neighbors to all of these folks, and I think they know that. We love this neighborhood because one of the ladies spoke and said one of our little folks could get out. And you know that could happen anytime. We do everything we can to protect people. But we love our neighbors, and we've tried to be good neighbors, and that's why we're here tonight. So I just wanted to make that statement on behalf of Bethany. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Livingston. Are there others who wanted to speak for or against?
My name is Susan Radovich. A little closer, sorry. Susan Radovich, and I live what would be on the left here. But first of all, I remember the last time we were here about this. They had to have 2 accesses, and I really don't understand from this drawing where the second access is going to be. Could someone illuminate me on that?
Kathy, did they decide the fire didn't require it? What's the deal?
Well, I think there was a side deal with Mr. Brannon's father. He did not want a second access.
Yes, we are not having access through Country Club Road like could have possibly happened. Another thing is the International Fire Code requires anything over 120 units to have 2 access points. We are well under that, so we require 1.
So all of this traffic is going to go out on Cypress Lake Road?
That's the proposal now, yes.
West Jones.
That's in excess, over 200 and probably well over 200 cars a day added to the traffic on Cypress Lake Road. This is ridiculous. There are accidents constantly in that area. And the person from Bethany, that's going to really increase the danger to their residents going in and out. I'm terribly concerned about the traffic, but my secondary concern is about the flooding. Because looking at this, and I understand there's to be a large retention pond. Retention ponds overflow, I'm sorry, they do. If there is a large amount of rain, they overflow. And that is going to flood down from the proposed retention ponds. That's going to flow right down into the Sugar Hill neighborhood. We live to the left side of that. And if all of the trees are removed, which will have to be done to build all of those units, that elevation is well higher than our property. And that is going to cause flooding down across the Georgia Power right-of-way, directly into our property and our neighbors' properties. And that's going to wash out our road, it's going to wash out our yards, it's going to flood our houses. I would like to have some kind of a guarantee that those floodwaters are going to be controlled. I mean, there could be retention walls built on their property, or they could come build retention walls against the back of our properties. But we need to have some sort of guarantee that this is not going to flood our entire neighborhood, which it's going to do. There is a branch down further along the Georgia Power right-of-way, and water could be directed into that branch, which then circumvents the neighborhood. That would probably cause some problems on the lower edges of people's property, but it wouldn't flood homes, which is what's going to happen now. Homes are going to be flooded. So I'm very concerned about the overall, I guess they are not concerned about the property owners that are already in this area. On either side, on all three sides. All three sides, the property owners are very concerned about the flooding. They're very concerned about the traffic problems. And I think that there needs to be a harder look at this. And I don't think that one access all going out onto Cypress Lake Road is the answer to this, but there's no other answer as well. Because there are single-family homes on all the sides, and then a Georgia Power right-of-way behind them, and that's not, anybody wants that. But I just think that somebody needs to step back and take a very careful look at all of the people who have been there all of this time and who have made the effort to get their families into single-family residences where they feel safer. And I think that's something that everybody needs to look at.
Thank you, Ms. Radovich. Are there others who want to speak for or against the issue?
I'd like to ask one question that you probably could answer. The last time we were here, it showed the exact location of the entrance off of Cypress Lake Road, and you also had an entrance, as I saw it, at that Jones Street extension. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir.
But it's not on there now.
In the previous layout, we had a connection to Cypress Lake as well as West Jones. In discussion with police and fire, they were in favor of just having the one access point. We meet the International Fire Code, so that's why we stayed with the one access point at Cypress Lake.
And where is it exactly on this map?
It's on the far right side, sir.
Okay, so it's there about halfway
Yes,
down
sir.
that side?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But
Yes, sir. If you would, please come to the podium and identify yourself
Yes,
during this
my name
portion.
is Ken Ritchie, and I'm a Lakewood Drive resident. And just as an aside, I'm not opposed to development, and I know, you know, we're big growth mode. You got a difficult situation here because the people that are going to be affected by some of this may be in the county. We're not going to vote for you because we're not in the state bar, but we might be affected, and we hope you to take that into consideration. And I went down to Cypress Lake Road today and pulled off on the side, and there were, in 12 minutes, there were 54 cars that came by there. And they were just boom, boom, boom. You can't get across. When you come down Country Club Road, you can't get on the Cypress Lake Road. You got the big curve, as the lady said, then you got a rise in the road, then you got the Bethany entrance, the Country Club Road entrance, and if you go another 450 feet, you got a blind curve there. So you got like 5 impediments to traffic on Cypress Lake Road already. And I know you've got traffic control, but they speed, you know. And I couldn't open my car door easily to get out and look at the sign that you put up there because there was so much traffic. So we're all concerned about it. We have had, I've lived there for a long time, and we've only had 2 big flooding events, but we have had some big flooding events, and Bob Brannon's got a retention pond at the bottom of his lot. It didn't retain much. You know, it came right across my property and across the road, jumped through the ditches. So we are concerned about it, particularly the traffic situation. But we aren't opposed. Like the man said, we're pro and con in a way. We know we can't stop it. You got to do what you got to do. People should be allowed to do what they want to do with their property. I know I wouldn't be happy if somebody told me what I could do with mine, but we can't infringe upon the rights of other people either. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. We'll ask Hayden to answer those concerns, but there anyone else who wants to be heard for or against? Okay, Hayden, would you like to comment again?
Yes, ma'am. First, I'd like to say I respect and understand all the concerns that were brought up. I tried to jot down as many items as I could, and I'll go through those as briefly as possible because I know everybody's busy and got plenty to do. So first, I'd like to say that this property is already zoned. We're doing this, we believe, by right. The layout hasn't changed much at all since the rezoning. So we're not asking for any variances. We're developing per the UDC. The traffic study issue, that's something that will kickstart immediately following this step, which is standard in all city estates work projects in the past. I would like to point out that I drive that road daily. Right now, there's currently no turn lanes for Bethany. There's no turn lanes for Country Club Road. There's no turn lanes for Johnson Street. Those roads are going to have a lot more traffic on them than our entrance. And I can go and tell you that our access point, where we have our study, we're dedicated to doing whatever it takes, whether it's a decel lane or a left turn, to alleviate those concerns. If that was done when Bethany was built, there's a good chance that a turn lane would have been required if a study had been done. These will be townhome units, not apartments. They'll be fee simple. And again, that's meant to be sold to individual owners. Right now, that is what the market is planning for this site. These will be 2-bedroom units. From a stormwater standpoint, I've heard that there are multiple issues in that area right now. We will work to improve those. By Georgia law, we can't make it worse than what it is now. Our goal at the end of the day is to improve that area after we get finished with it. And I can assure you that we'll work with city staff and all the engineering staff to ensure that happens. As far as buffers, we have included the buffers that are required by the ordinance. As far as being the distance from those residences, right now, if you're sitting on their back porch, you're 350 feet from our property. And just for perspective, our property is 350 feet wide. So there's a lot of distance between these different properties. Each of those parcels is 12 to 15 acres. So there's ample size for buffers, and we're not opposed to If it's needed to put a fence up on just our side, where the open side is, on the Brandon side, that side is currently not vegetated. So if that's something that we have to do, we understand, but that's something that would be above and beyond the ordinance as it's written today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robbins. Anyone else to speak for or against?
May I
Okay.
make one closing comment?
One quick one, please.
We've got a big traffic problem, and the developer's going to come back with a small neighborhood traffic impact plan. I would ask that you table this until they can come back with a regional plan that takes into consideration all of the problems that we're having along that road. Because those are going to be difficult problems to solve. Because even if you as the city wanted to solve those problems, it becomes a county road just past this property. You don't have the ability to make those changes. So we know we've got the Olive property getting ready to come online. And you've got a county road problem, you've got a city problem. Let's do a regional traffic plan to understand what we need to do to make this safe before we approve 111 units.
Thank you,
Okay,
Mr.
please.
Green. Okay.
I would just like to add that, yes, we'll do an individual traffic study for our site, but currently, Mr. Brand's probably not aware, but there is a joint regional traffic study that is ongoing between the county and the city right now.
All right, thank you. So I need a motion to close the public hearing so the council can deliberate.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
So the public hearing is now closed and the council deliberates, and we can call back up anybody we want you to ask further questions. What do y'all think?
I just like to thank all y'all for taking the time after your work day to come out and express your concerns. That helps us make our decisions because a lot of times things get passed and people have the opportunity to come and sometimes they can't help it, but sometimes they don't come and then later they're mad about it and we could have helped them. So I think a lot of your concerns are very legitimate. There's a lot of people in this room that I respect. And, you know, you've got developers, you've got lawyers, you've got residents of many years that have invested, and this many people coming out, I think poses a lot of risk to what's going on. I also understand the development side from Hayden's standpoint, and, you know, I think we've proven we're pro-development up here. We are, but there's certain circumstances when it affects, you know, long-term members and entire groups that I think we should take a little more time to, you know, focus in on this one.
Thank you, Jenny. Heather?
I would certainly like to see something done about the big curve. At least looked into it. I mean, it's the same as it has been since I was in high school.
Well,
Nothing has changed about it.
That's the thing, I mean, that road it was originally really a residential road. I mean, it's West Jones is clearly residential. You go a little further down Cypress Lake and that's residential down there. And we're having a problem, now that road is a connector road because we got development out at Country Club, so there's new houses going on out there. All them people go down West Jones and turn on Country Club and go that way. We've got new development down on Cypress Lake on the south side of the bypass. And a lot of people that work, shop, live downtown or work, you know, go downtown, come that way because, you know, South Main can have traffic on it sometimes. So my point is, whatever happens with this property, I don't want to say is almost irrelevant, but there's a lot more traffic coming on that road that isn't even attributable to this property. And so I don't know if we need to look at speed mitigation measures or turn lanes or something along those lines because it is already a dangerous curve. And again, due to nothing that we're doing, because a lot of that development out on the Country Club and out on Cypress Lake is out in the county. So that's not even stuff that but that road in particular, especially past that curve, the majority of people that drive down that road aren't city residents. So it's a connector road. So, I mean, I'm sure it's on the plan to look at what, you know, to do something to improve that curve, but regardless of what happens with this development, that curve needs to be addressed just due to the sheer, and he's right, you know, if that Olive property gets developed and if other property gets developed along the bypass, which is almost certain to be the case, you know, we're gonna end up, that's going to be a road that's gonna get a lot of traffic on it, and it's really not designed for that.
Thank you, Mr. Boyle. My concerns are several. I hear everything, and I also appreciate everybody taking time to come out and express their concerns and try to advise and guide us. I was surprised at the lack of the other road, that there's no longer talk about putting that over, but I hear you saying the minimum requirement is 120. If there were 120 units, then you'd have to have a second road. But since you're 9 under that, you're right up at the line, you're not required to.
Yes, ma'am, we're under that, and we work with police and fire, both, and planning staff, and all came to the determination to leave the one access point off of Cypress Lake.
So just double check, fire and police are cool with?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If I'm not mistaken, they were under the impression that if you put a feeder into the Sugar Hill neighborhood, you'd end up with a lot of traffic going through that neighborhood. So.
Which would not be designed.
And then, of course, Mr. Brandon on that, you know, they could certainly put a road right through there and feed everything out on the, out onto, what is it, Country Club Road? But, you know, the property owner doesn't want that road either, even though that's well within their right to put a road right there. So I think those need to be considered too. Is like there's already been some give and take with the property owner, and like you said, and Kane, is there anything in this thing that's not in the UDC? They're not asking for variances or anything like that, right?
That's correct, and it fits. The main point is to establish the density standards and get and memorialize that staff have evaluated them and that they do meet the density standards for the pre-existing zoning designation.
So that, and my point is if I'm not mistaken, that becomes very difficult to turn something down that's within our ordinance, correct?
That's right.
Are we allowed to ask for a lessening of the unit count?
Could, but that's what he's saying. They are within the limits of what we've already zoned it.
So that's not even, we can't even ask for that at this point.
So another thing that I noticed, you know, staff crafted and we approved the R2, all the standards for how much amenity space and green space and all those kinds of things. And we did it trying to make neighborhoods people would want to live in with this stuff about like 10% amenity space. In this particular circumstance, it's such a narrow, long piece, and they kind of lucked out with having that easement at the end that you can't do anything with anyway. So they get to have all their amenity space down there with land that you can't do much. And then they can do some other little bit of amenity up around the mailboxes or something. So it's within the rules, as Mr. Boyum says, and as Mr. Rollins has pointed out. They're within the rules, but it's pretty close. And I'm concerned with all of the concerns that have been brought up here. So there is the possibility, council, of delaying, deferring, tabling, so that we can try to come to a better agreement. Let the folks in the neighborhood be better reassured about what's going to be done, better clarify. One thing I want to address right here, there was a concern expressed, I didn't get notified what was happening. I don't think individuals get notified. I think the city, what we were required to do, we regularly have planning meetings. The planning commission meets every first Tuesday at 5 o'clock in the evening, is that right? Here at City Hall? Okay, and so if you see a yellow sign, show up that first Monday. I mean, it tells you on the sign if you can get close enough to read it. But that's a planning commission meeting that happens 2 weeks before it comes to us. So if you want to have input there, that's just something we all need to know, that happens on the first Tuesday of every month at 5 o'clock here at City Hall. Anything it comes before planning commission, that's where it's discussed. And then it gets bumped to us in 2 weeks. So what are we going to do with it now?
I think we need to postpone. There's enough people here that I think something can be come up with to make both parties agree.
And we do have a precedent of when neighborhoods are really concerned, neighbors are concerned, of having a meeting, calling a meeting and addressing the concerns and seeing if there can be some resolution for the concerns. We've done that with other neighborhoods.
Sure, I think as long as it's with the understanding that, I mean, I know this is hard to hear, but the development is within our guidelines. And so I'm not, I mean, we've done it before where something was within the guidelines and we asked folks to go back and chat to see if there could be at least some kind of collaboration or whatever. But it's important to know that they are well within the code, the rights to do what they're doing, because we just approved the guidelines not too long ago. So, and so I just want to make that clear. I mean, I always love to hear from folks, and I absolutely, especially in my district, I listen to them first and foremost. But you know, at the same time, we have to treat each property owner the same. And if we create a set of rules and they're developing within the rules, we're stepping outside of our authority to tell them no.
I hear you, and there's a public hearing, so that we can take these things into consideration. We can't just, I mean, they wouldn't need us, if staff could just interpret rules and pass or reject.
Sure.
So, one more thing.
If I may, so this was rezoned in May, which meant we went to the April P&Z. This has not been a process that started last week. We went through the process that the city has, P&Z for rezoning and annexation. Came here to city council, very little opposition. The property was purchased based on that rezoning. The layout that was shown, which is very similar to what's shown tonight. Again, we went through, for this plan, we went through the last month's planning and zoning. No opposition. Your planning commission passed it 7-0. You've got staff approval. I hear the concerns for tonight, but time is a big issue. You delay these things months and months and months, that costs people a lot of money. So I just ask that you consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. So, your motion is, Ms. Henley?
I'm just saying, I don't think most of the residents are opposed to this in general. I just think they're asking for measures to be taken for safety and to keep their quality of life. So I just think that postponing for just a little bit might, you know, in the long run, be better for everyone involved.
Mr. Petty?
Since he has, since he's redirected several times, may I say something?
Okay, it's hard to keep it all within the rules. We're supposed to have the public hearing where everybody and then a council member has to ask a question of somebody for them to come back and talk more. But yes, please, Ms. Ravitch, if you have one final comment.
I would just hope that the council would look at the traffic thing first before allowing the building to begin. I think that the city may have to bite the bullet and create some different building of that road. I just don't think, I mean, the city council approved it. I think the city council needs to make it safe. And it is not safe the way it will be built right now. So I think that's important.
Thank you. Mr. Petty?
So, Mayor, members of the council, couple of things. And this is not anything, I don't want to say anything that might appear to be negative to our residents. We have gone through the zoning process, and it is really important when these properties are being rezoned that residents are there. And I know we've had some issues with notification, because if we are using our postal service, sometimes you're not getting it until after that process. Tonight is more about a legal process. However, council can, and when I say legal, we're talking about lot lines and things of that nature. All of these concerns really should have been dealt with doing that zoning before council voted. That's when they could have decided to vote against it. However, what we can do, if it is the pleasure of our council, is, and I know Mr. Rollins says time is money, but again, we can sit down with the residents and we can sit down with our staff. But I do need to be clear that before any building is done, the traffic impact analysis has to be done. This is a step in that process, and it might occur after that, But before a building permit is done, we have to have that traffic impact analysis done. So if the council is interested, we as staff, if you direct us, we can bring everybody together, get an understanding, 30 days, bring it back to you for the final, the preliminary plat approval. Now, doesn't mean that the plans change, but we can hear the concerns and talk about how we can address the concerns of the residents in that neighborhood. And again, I want to just simply say, we need to, in the future, just reverse that so that that occurs before the rezoning occurs. Now, because at this point, our council is really in sort of they're in an awkward spot because they have a legal responsibility to do the preliminary plat. If they choose to decide not to approve the preliminary plat, then that just raises a whole different issue for this board that has a legal responsibility. But I said more than I probably should have, but I'm more than willing to convene the group and do as you like.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. So that's the motion, Ms. Handley, that we delay, postpone for the 30 days, come back at the second meeting next month, and that staff will initiate a meeting that all the folks who are here tonight can be welcome to attend.
Staff will initiate a meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. That's the motion, and you second?
Second.
Okay, that's the motion. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. So unanimously approved that we will delay, we will table this for 30 days, and staff will set up a meeting with concerned folks.
Madam Chair, in conjunction with that then, can we get, I realize staff and particularly in the transportation and streets got a lot of stuff going on. But there's no doubt that this corner is especially with all the development that is the potential out in that area. I mean, we've already run water out there, et cetera, et cetera. My point is this is clearly going to be a red zone, hot button kind of issue, regardless of who develops along that road. And considering, again, that there's multiple opportunities to develop outside of the city, yet people will be using that road. My point being is, can we direct staff to go ahead and start looking at, you know, more advanced measures, turn lanes, you know, slowing the road down somehow. I mean, even if this development doesn't happen, that needs to happen.
Right. Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know if we need to vote on that, or if we can just say, go ahead and get that started. And
you can direct us to do that. What we might also have is our transportation master plan should be somewhere. It's been moving on down the road, and hopefully there's some information that's already been directed in this area. This is I don't want to say this is a problem. This is an opportunity for our community because we are seeing phenomenal plans, and just like Burkhalter, now we have another side of town that we've got to address, the transportation, and I just want, and I know the mayor and the council know this, the concerns that are being raised by the residents are not falling on deaf ears. In the past, we just have not had these types of plans coming forward, and we've got to address them. That's why you approved T-Splosh, and so that's what that money is there for, to address these concerns and try to mitigate traffic issues.
Thank you. So staff is directed to look at the transportation plan and see if this is covered. Do you have something you wanted to say, Joseph?
I was just going to add that we'll look at the long range transportation plan that's underway right now, and if for some reason it doesn't take a deeper dive on this corridor, then we can break it out, and just like we did along Brandon Street, we can do a separate corridor plan for this area from the bypass, because we're working with the county on long range transportation for the bypass back into town, back towards College Street.
yeah, because there's still some property out west on Country Club Road that could easily be developed, and they're building new houses out there right now. So
Okay.
that's right.
Thank you, gentlemen. So if the residents want to remain for the rest of the meeting, you're welcome to, but we're done with that for tonight. And we're moving on to public hearings and consideration of motions to approve applications for alcohol licenses for 3 different locations. So we'll pause just a moment. Thank you all. Sure. So we're going to just take a 3-minute recess here. Thank you for your attention. We'll resume. We're on agenda item 8, which is a public hearing and consideration of a motion to approve an application for an alcohol license in accordance with the City of Statesboro Alcohol Ordinance Section 613A for 3 different locations. I neglected to note earlier that our council member Paulette Chambers from District 2 is with us via Zoom. She's out of the city tonight, but she's with us and has been recording her votes. And I apologize, Ms. Chambers, that I didn't slow down to ask for your comments, but please holler if you have anything to say.
Don't apologize, she's in San Francisco.
I'm raising my hand. I'm following the rules of council.
Great. Thank you very much, Ms. Chambers. So we are having a public hearing and considering a motion to approve application for 3 locations. Raisin Toast, which is doing business as Eggs Up Grill at 137 Tormento Way, Ashley and Nate Pennington's business and restaurant. Also B is Sugar Magnolia Coffee House, the one at 100 Brampton Avenue, Suite 11, excuse me. Owner Caroline Joyner, and that's a low volume license type. Item C is Antoinette's Cafe Kitchen at 193 West Main Street. The owner is Samir Bay and Nakira Bobs, and this is another restaurant. So we need a motion to open the public hearing, please.
To move.
Second? Second. All in favor? So the public hearing is open. Is there anyone who wants to speak for any of these license requests? Yes. Come and identify yourself, please.
I'm Nakyra Bobs, and this is my sister, Samira Faye.
Okay, so we are the owners of Antoinette's Cafe and Kitchen. I wrote a little speech because I didn't know.
This is our first time, guys, so we're a
Welcome.
little nervous.
We're very mean.
Okay, so bear with me. So good evening, everyone. I'm Samir. This is my sister, Nakyra, and that's my mother over there, Antoinette. And we're the owners of Antoinette's Cafe and Kitchen. We thank you for the opportunity to speak today regarding our application for our alcohol license. At Antoinette's Cafe and Kitchen, we are more than just a place to eat and drink. We are committed to being a positive force in our community. Our mission is to give back in a meaningful way, and we plan to partner with local charities and organizations to host fundraising events, providing meals for those in need and create job opportunities for the residents. Safety is a top priority for us. We will strictly enforce all alcohol regulations and provide comprehensive training for our staff and ensure responsible serving practices. Our goal is to maintain a safe and welcoming environment for everyone who visits our cafe. Additionally, we will implement safety measures such as ID checks and our surveillance system, and designated staff to monitor our premises. We just want to ensure that the cafe remains a safe and secure place for our patrons and neighbors. And we are excited about our opportunity to open our cafe here in Statesboro. Just kind of going rogue off of what I wrote down here, just to tell you a little bit about us. We are originally from New Jersey. My sister and I, my mom is originally from New York. Since we were kids, we visited Statesboro, Claxton, Pembroke, because we had family here. So we were familiar with the South and the way of life here. And as parents, we decided that we wanted to raise our family here in the South as well. So I understand what everyone was discussing earlier about just kind of keeping the integrity of the South and some of their concerns. This is actually why we chose Statesboro and to be a part of the community here while we're raising our children. My sister has other businesses endeavors that she actually kind of moved here to Statesboro that we plan to add to the community also. She has a med spa. She also has a medical school that's already established in Los Angeles. And I'm assistant director for building services with NYU. So we kind of like came together and we just, you know, because we're residents here, we were thinking of a way that we can kind of pitch into the community and what can we bring. And, you know, looking for something to eat. You know, and something that helps us feel like home. And we wanted to provide that for everyone else. I don't know about you guys, but we have grandparents here in the South, and it's nothing like going to your grandma's house and knowing that you can get something to eat. Even like coming back from school, from college, you know, when you go home, you're gonna get some good food when you go to grandma's house. But not only will you get good food there, you know, there's family, there's good music, there's the family gathering. It's those conversations. It's just that warm feeling, and that's what we want to bring. In our cafe. So we want to have that warm environment that's welcoming for everyone. Make you feel like you're at grandma's house. The food is going to be delicious, we promise. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't know. But that's what we want to do, and we would appreciate if you guys approve our license, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Bowles. Thank you, Ms. Miller. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak for or against any of these three applications? Hearing none, I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. So the public hearing is closed, and now discussion. Council, what's your pleasure?
I agree. I move.
Okay, you move for the approval of all three?
Yes.
Is there a second? Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All three licenses are approved. Thank you and congratulations. Welcome. Moving on to agenda item 9, public hearing and consideration of a motion to approve an application for an alcohol license in accordance with the City of Statesboro alcohol ordinance. This is at the J Food Mart at 500 East Main Street. Mr. Vinod Kumar Chodhari. A license type is package sales, beer and wine only. So this is the convenience store, the edge of Coach Lee Hill Boulevard and Highway 80, East Main Extension. So I'll ask for a motion to open the public hearing. And a second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? So the motion carries. The public hearing is open. Is there anyone here who wants to speak for this request for the J Food Mart? Is there anyone here who wants to speak against this request for beer and wine license? Anyone here who wants to speak for or against? Okay. Hearing none, I'll call for a motion to close the public hearing. And a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So the public hearing is closed. Discussion, what's your pleasure? Council? Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay. All in favor of the motion to approve this alcohol license? Aye. Thank you. So number 9 does pass. Next is consideration of a motion to approve an amendment of interlocal agreement with Bullitt County to authorize Statesboro Bullitt County Land Bank Authority. I'm sorry, is this the one that we wanted to? I neglected to update my copy. That item is no longer on the agenda this evening and will be dealt with later. However, agenda item 11, consideration of a motion to approve a joint resolution with Bullitt County to appoint John Robinson as the 5th member of the Statesboro Bullitt County Land Bank Authority. Any further comment or explanation on that from staff?
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, this is just, Bullitt County did approve that this morning that Mr. Robinson will be appointed as the 5th member. That is, that's a contingency that needs to be taken care of prior to them implementing those 2012 powers that were in the previous item, and it got tabled because there's a taxation issue and that was late coming. So, but we can move forward on the Robinson appointment as the county did this morning.
Okay, thank you. Any further question or discussion from council? So my understanding is this is something new that's opened up, and we can appoint one extra person and then have a little broader powers through the Land Bank Authority.
Right, it's the Land Bank Authority itself actually appoints that fifth member. The initial four are split evenly between the city and county, but the fifth one is elected by the actual members.
Okay.
And they did so earlier this month, or last year.
Unanimous?
Last July.
Was it unanimous?
Yes.
This morning, yeah.
Oh, no, I meant the board itself appoints the
Yeah.
person and then the county and the city
Thank you.
approval.
Thank you, got it. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to approve or deny. Move to approve the appointment.
Second.
Okay, second. Somebody seconded? Okay, all in favor, please signify by aye or raised hand. Aye. So that passes. Paulette, are you raising your hand?
She is.
Yes, unanimous approval.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 12, consideration of a motion to approve the restatement of the Georgia Municipal Employees Benefit System Defined Benefit Retirement Plan. Mr. Kennedy, are you into this?
Mayor, members of the council, this is an annual requirement. It's required for our defined benefit plan to have you restate this every year. And it's to make sure we're in compliance with IRS. And so each community that participates in the plan is asked to do this. We recommend approval.
Thank you. Any question or concern? Can I call for a motion, please?
So moved.
Move to approve.
Move to approve.
Thank you. A second? And all in favor?
Aye.
Paulette, raising her hand. So that passes unanimously as well. Agenda item 13, consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2024-19. This is a resolution to accept a grant from Georgia City Solutions for $500 to implement a placemaking project designed by the Statesboro Youth Council. Mr. Penny, do you or Dr. Mitchell have anything to say about that?
Mayor, members of the council, this was an opportunity to apply for a grant, and we did it. And so we were successful in being selected for the $500 grant. And so we need for the council to accept that. Now, this is about placemaking, and it's a project that the youth council will endeavor on. The $500 is not all that's needed. There's not a match required, but we're going to have to put some money to that to help them finish the project. So we do recommend approval. We do have members of the youth council in attendance tonight, along with Dr. Mitchell. And so we appreciate Dr. Mitchell and the youth council and Mr. Bynes for submitting the application.
Great. And I understand the project is y'all are kind of adopting the Willie McTell Trail and we'll put in some enhancements along the trail. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Well, thank you very much for being with us. Any further question or discussion? Then I'll call for a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Paulette, you're raising your hand again, aren't you? So it's unanimous.
Yes.
Thank you. Unanimous approval. Thank you all. Congratulations, and we look forward to seeing the enhancements. Agenda item 14, consideration of a motion to award a contract to NeoGov in the amount of $37,554.67 to provide a human resource information system platform that will assist with recruiting, orienting, and evaluating employees.
Mayor, member of the council, we currently have Civic HR.
Civic HR.
Civic HR. And that is what we use for our human resources information, what we use for our evaluations. However, that will no longer exist come September 30th. And so what HR did is they went through the process of looking at some options and wanted to recommend that we select NeoGov because what it will do is it will provide us the opportunity to applications online, an evaluation system, and all the information that we need to have at our fingertips because most people don't use paper anymore. And it is a little bit more robust than just an application process. And so we do recommend tonight the approval of this agreement with NeoGov for the $37,554.67. Mr. Bynes is in the audience if you have any questions. And I made him wait till tonight to put this on the agenda. And so as soon as you approve it, if you approve it, they've got like 60 days to get everything converted so that come September 30th, we can roll into our new software.
Thank you. Mr. Bynes, will this be used for those who are applying for work with the city? This is going to be part of the application process as well?
Yes, this system will be used by applicants to apply for city employment.
So, but it won't actually go into effect until the other one stops. So you're working the next 2 months to make it happen?
That's correct. We've got an implementation plan that will hopefully we'll read about it in the upcoming days, assuming I can approve.
Okay, anyone else have questions for Mr. Bynes?
So put it off for 2 weeks, that would be good?
Not good at all.
Right, I'll call for a motion, please.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you. I'll call for a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, and a second.
Second.
All in favor? That's it. You looking for Paulette's hand? Yes, I see your hand up. Is that your hand up voting, or you hand up to speak?
It's the yellow hand is what she's voting.
My hand up. I'm in agreement with the motion that was passed.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Chambers. Agenda item 15, consideration of a motion to approve an application submitted by UP Statesboro LLC doing business as Cambridge at Southern, the Pines, and the Scion Group for funding under the Security Enhancement Incentive Program in the amount of $20,000. Very similar to items 16 and 17. You want to tell us about it, Mr. Penny?
Yes, ma'am. Last year, you actually approved $80,000 in ARPA funds in order to try to incentivize property owners, especially multifamily property owners, to utilize technology to help us in monitoring and helping us to solve crime. And so in this case, we have 3 applications for the safety enhancement incentive program. And so tonight, we recommend these 3 grants be awarded. I will say, I need to tell you up front that I do need for you to approve an additional $17,844.50, because when you do 2 of these, I'm not gonna have enough money to pay for the 3rd one. And we can utilize that $17,844.50 out of interest earned on the ARPA funds. And we do recommend that to you as well. I was gonna do that under the city manager's report. But initially, when y'all approved the safety enhancement incentive program, it was slow going. And then we had things that happened in our community, and people got a lot more interest in it. And so we recommend to you the approval of these 3 grant awards.
Thank you, sir. And I also will note from looking at the details that these groups are spending a lot more than $20,000. We're only reimbursing them $20,000 of the $60,000 and $80,000 they're putting out to put up these surveillance systems to keep it safer in their complexes. Any further discussion or questions, council?
This is a big leap forward in public safety.
Amen.
Especially at these 2 places.
Especially at these 2 places.
And I want to thank the police, well, we haven't approved it yet, but I want to thank the police department, and I also want to thank Olympia Games, because this has been one of our special projects as well.
Thank you, Ms. Gaines. I don't see the chief, but we appreciate him always. So, any further discussion?
I'm just proud to see safety measures being taken out of it. That's something that's been raised lately with all the growth, so it's good.
Right. So I'll call for a motion, please.
So moved.
Do we want to move to approve all 3 of these, items 15, 16, and 17?
Yes, ma'am.
Complexes. Okay, need a second. All in favor?
Aye.
See Paulette's hand. So it passes unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 18 is consideration of a motion to approve a development agreement with 202 West Main Street to use $50,000 in TAD funds for funding assistance for the garage project within Statesboro TAD 1, which is the downtown TAD, South Main TAD. Who wants to give us more details on that?
Mayor, members of the council, we've had the TAD in place now at least 5 years. It's been 5 years, it's been in place. And this is, I think, what's the third or fourth TAD application. So the TAD committee met and approved the award of the approved $50,000 to go to the 202 West Main Street LLC. And this is, I guess it's a garage that's going to become a fitness center. All these people sitting over in this corner over here. Crisco Hagan is here with them. Are you flexing or?
Just bumping, flexing, all of it.
Okay. And so the $50,000 is a small portion of the cost. That's going to be an improvement to the building and going to add value and another destination in our downtown area for our people to come and utilize in our community. And so tonight you have to approve the agreement. And so we do recommend approval of the agreement. And if you have any questions about anything, again, Crisco Hagan is here if you need to ask any questions, but we do recommend it.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. So this is actually currently located across the street, but you're going to relocate and expand and improve the services, is that right? Okay. Anything else you want to tell us? You don't have to, but since you're here. Anybody have any questions? Chris, did you want to make a statement for them?
No, Councilwoman, Mayor Pro Temp, I just want to echo City Manager Penny's comments. If you have any questions for the group, we have a presentation we're happy to show you. You've seen a lot of presentations tonight. We're particularly proud of ours, but if you have any questions about this project, we're happy to answer them. Otherwise, we appreciate you considering the unanimous recommendation of the TAD Committee to approve this request.
Thank you. And so this would be a relocation. What's the timeline? Do we have an idea of once it's approved?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Temp, members of council. Crisco Hagan here on behalf of the applicant 202 West Main and its owner Christina Gibson and several very enthused members of the garage, which will be relocating from directly across from City Hall down to just behind the post office and up from the Habitat for Humanity building. We're looking at a 5-month construction time frame here, I think roughly. There's going to be considerable work done inside the facility. The requested TAD funds are dedicated specifically to exterior improvements, which will include site work, parking enhancements, exterior lighting, signage, and exterior painting. So you're going to see a lot of exterior impacts on this building, which has been operated as an automotive garage for many years. It's going to be converted to a group fitness studio. So if you've seen the classes moving steadily around downtown, you'll continue to see those folks bringing foot traffic to another part of our downtown community and having an impact on neighboring businesses and our city as a whole. But yeah, relatively short construction timeline since most of it is rehabilitation and remodeling and not demolition and reconstruction.
And did I see that there is intent to have a pervious parking area? We're not going to put more concrete, we're going to let rain run through?
The plan is for crush and run and the parking enhancements. We don't have any plans at this time to make that asphalt. And the money that's allocated to the $50,000 that's requested, I think is going to be used up with the current plans. So I don't know that we need to be looking to add additional cost. We came to the TAD looking for assistance because of highly elevated costs for this project, some of which were associated with environmental testing and others just with increasing costs to get this kind of commercial work done in our community. But we greatly appreciate the unanimous support of the TAD committee and appreciate you looking favorably on their recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Hagan. Any other questions or comments, council?
It's exciting. It needs expansion. There's a lot of people that go there.
Yes.
Well, hopefully this will trigger some more interest in the TAD district itself. I realized when we first created the TAD, it might have been confusing for a lot of folks, but I think they're starting to see the impact even just a little bit of money can do to help improve the the look, the feel, and the connectivity of these properties. Well done.
And it sounds like you can go to the gym and you go over to Antoinette's across the street. Have a
Yeah.
deal and then work
Get
out.
fat, then get skinny. Then get fat, then get skinny.
Yes, don't be so fool. All right, so I will call, if there are no other questions or discussion, I'll call for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion is to approve. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
And I see Paulette's hand still up, so we got a unanimous approval.
She said nay?
She didn't say nay.
No, I know.
Agenda item 19, consideration of a motion to authorize the Municipal Gas Authority of Georgia to transact with Southern Natural Gas on behalf of the city of Statesboro to permanently acquire firm capacity through the South System 4 project in the amount of 350 decatherms a day to be effective in 2028 after the South System 4 is complete. As soon as those folks exit, we will hear more about that. Mr. Penny, tell us about that motion.
Well, I don't know that I can add. We sell natural gas. And what this is doing is adding to our capacity for firm gas. It doesn't go into effect until 2028. And firm gas is important for our ability to operate. Adding capacity with the growth that we're seeing in the community is important as well. And so to be able to get this additional capacity is a smart move on our part and on staff recommendations. And so if you need any more information, I'm gonna have to call for Steve to come from outside. But this is a smart move on our staff part to provide the additional capacity.
Thank you. Any other question, discussion? And now call for a motion.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Paulette's hand is up, so item 19 passes unanimously. Agenda item 20 is a consideration of a motion to approve a change order number 1 of the Campbell County Industrial Park Project with Southern Utility Group in the amount of $57,800. This is to extend unit prices for installation of a 4-inch natural gas main on Aikens Boulevard. And it will be paid for with operating income funds from the CIP project NGD 11. Any further information?
The only thing is, we currently have that contract for the Chandler County expansion, so they were willing to guarantee us the same unit price for the Aikens Road project, so we're just taking advantage of a good price in a difficult time for any type of construction work, so we recommend approval of the change order.
Thank you. Any other question or discussion, council? If not, I'll call for a motion.
So moved.
Move for approval. A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Tabor's hand is still up. Unanimous approval. Item 21, consideration of a motion to approve change order number 2 in the amount of $78,455 to Southern Civil for blower and pump upgrade project at wastewater treatment plant. Again, to be paid for with operating and ATC funds included in the project budget, WTP 24, approved by council 8/9/23. Any further information?
Again, this is only $78,000 out of a $2.1 million project. It does help us with our electrical, ensuring our electrical ability at that location, so we do recommend approval. If you need any more, we'll call Steve.
Okay. Any questions or concerns? Then I'll call for a motion. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Hand is up, unanimous approval. Item 22, consideration of a motion to award a contract to Mark Turner Grading Incorporated in the amount of $275 per hour, not to exceed a total cost of $120,000. This is to complete a water service line inventory by excavation and verification of approximately 636 existing water services. This will be funded by operating revenues. And this is something state we have to do and we're tacking on.
Yes, ma'am. We have to get this done before sometime toward the end of October. This is being required by the feds. to do this verification of these locations is we need to know what kind of lines are in place, is to avoid lead, all types of issues. And so we had difficulty finding contractors, so we looked at, I think, the city of Smyrna, and they had gone through that process. And so what we're recommending is the use of the firm that had the lowest price from Smyrna, and they've agreed to do the work for us. If y'all approve, we recommend approval.
And they can get it done by the deadline.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any further question or discussion?
Yeah, they literally have to dig around and find the pipes.
Do what?
They literally have to dig around and find the pipes, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm sure they'll start with the plans at City Hall, but hopefully as much as we tell about where they are.
Yeah, start with locate and then work from there.
Any further discussion? Then I need a motion.
So moved.
And a
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of approval?
Aye.
All right, so it is up. Unanimous approval. Item number 23 is consideration of a motion to award a contract to Hussey Gay Bell Engineering Incorporated in the amount of $79,100 to provide survey, design, permit, bid, and contract administration services for the extension of sanitary sewer services to the Quail Run subdivision. If approved, the project will be funded using the ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act, funds as approved in fiscal year 2025 Capital Improvements Project WWD 32H.
Mayor, members of council, with the ARPA funds, you approved the extension of wastewater lines into neighborhoods that have been in the city for a number of years. What this does is this gets our engineering done so that we can get it bid. We need to get it bid before the end of the calendar year so we can encumber the funds, and we still have 2 years after that, but we need to get this work done. So we recommend approval of this contract with Hussey Gay Bell so we can go ahead and get that project designed in Quail Run neighborhood.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. Any question or discussion? Okay, then I need a motion.
So moved.
Motion to approve. In a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hands still up. Item number 24 on our agenda is consideration of a motion to accept Councilmember Boyum's resignation as the District 1 representative. Mr. Boyum, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Me? Never. Yes, well, for real this time. I'm officially announcing my resignation from the Statesboro City Council seat for District 1 as of August 1st. And I will be moving out of Statesboro to be closer to my parents. 12 years, Councilman Riggs, 12 years. It was 12 years ago when former Councilman Blitch announced his resignation, and I decided to run for this seat. At that time, the city's reserve funds were almost zero. Our police department was struggling, and our top management was frequently in flux. 12 years later, the city's finances and credit rating are in great shape. We have one of the finest police departments in the state, and our management team is rock solid. Now let me be clear, I am not taking any credit for these improvements. The credit goes to our dedicated staff and our hardworking and talented people. What's changed in 12 years? Well, we've got 2 new TAD projects that brought us a new Publix development and the new South Main beautification project. Sorry we couldn't get the Red Lobster, but you know, they went out of business. So you'll have to deal with the Publix. We've got a new dog park, we've got a new art park, we've got a new water park, and we've got a lighted basketball court. We have more sidewalks than ever, and our roads are smoother than ever before. We have a new bus system, a new visitor center, and a new unified development code that's driving hundreds of new housing starts for the community. And that's just really the tip of the iceberg. All of this is amazing, so this bears repeating. While council has guided the decisions and been at the top of the pyramid, so to speak, it's been our fantastic staff that has done all the work. They put in the hours, the legwork, the typing, the meetings. They have done all the work. This is the legacy that I'm most proud of, putting together a management team that's forward-thinking, strategic-minded, and dedicated to improving the quality of life for all its citizens, while also being good stewards of our assets and our tax revenues. I want to thank the citizens of District 1 for entrusting me with this position 3 times. I want to thank the Georgia Municipal Association for giving me the opportunity to serve at the state level in multiple positions. And of course, I want to thank all of our unconvicted council members with whom I have served, as well as our city manager and mayor, and the 3 mayors I've served with. Most importantly, I want again to thank the staff for their support and for their unbelievable tolerance and patience as they taught me the intricate details of running a $100 million city, which is what we are today. I also want to make sure to thank our city clerk, Leah Harden, and our former city clerk, Sue Starling. They are like the grandmothers of, well, not your mother. Sue was a grandmother. Yeah, sister. Yeah, maybe so. My sister doesn't do nearly as much as my mom, so she's a mother figure. I'm just saying, we, the council, the elected body, could not do what we do without the hard work of our clerk, for sure. I mean, that's not to take anything away from Charles or City Attorney Kane, but you know, she really does guide us through all the paperwork and the details. So I want to thank her, as well as Sue Starling, who did it for many years. That being said, it's been an honor to serve, and I leave the city in capable hands. It's really an exciting time for Statesboro and the whole region, and it's going to be exciting to me to watch it develop from afar. Thank you again, Statesboro, for the opportunity to serve, and good luck moving forward. For the record, I will submit my resignation in writing to Kane, and he'll forward that all to you guys this week, and then you should be able to schedule the replacement election at the next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Boyan.
Thank
so
you.
we have a consideration of a motion to accept the resignation, and so I assume you are presenting that motion. So we need a second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, please signify by raising your hands.
Can I vote nay?
Aye. Yes, you vote until then, through this one.
I think I abstain.
Okay. So those voting are unanimously accepting that resignation. And as Mr. Boyan said, the resignation is effective as of the first day of August. So at that point, when the seat is actually vacant, the city can call for a special election. It looks like timing is going to fall into place so that will be on the November election. But we can't call for it yet until the seat's actually vacant.
Well, you know, just for clarification, I know I announced my resignation last year, but then there was just a snafu that would have ended up leaving the seat vacant for almost 9 months. And with all that was going on, you know, I took it on myself and the advice of other people in my district to make arrangements so I could serve as long as I have. But the time has come for me to move and help my family. Yet at the same time, it will keep the seat vacant for the shortest amount of time, which I think is important, especially with the new developments at the county and the new developments at the BOE and everything we got going here in Statesboro. It's important that we get another voice to represent District 1 as soon as possible. So again, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank staff. I mean, staff for 12 years has guided me along and kept me from falling in the ditch, so I appreciate it.
Thank
More
you.
than you guys know.
Thank you. Any other comment?
I would like to say thank you. You've helped point us in the right direction. Everything that you just mentioned there, you had a hand in, whether you want to admit it or not. You brought things to my attention that I never would have thought about. You are the smartest man in the room. I tell people that all the time.
Now that it's empty.
Well, I couldn't bring it up earlier. I'm going to miss you. I'll stay in touch. I wish you the best. You've done a fine job for 12 years. Appreciate it. I'm happy to call you a friend and a colleague.
Thanks, Ron.
I want to say thank you. I've only known you a short while, but you've already taught me a lot, and you are a very wise man. I think you take a lot into account, and I think that the city has, benefited a lot by you being here, and I wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hindley. And I will say also, I've served with you only 5 years, but I have also appreciated your service, and you have set a model for coming prepared, for knowing what's going on, and I have appreciated your depth of knowledge of city affairs. So thank you very much for your service. You're welcome. Paulette, yes, thank you. Ms. Chambers, would you like to make a comment?
Yes, I'm just, grateful for the wealth of knowledge that Phil has provided to the council. I too have learned a lot from him. I think the most that I'm gonna miss about Phil is his humor and his funny jokes that, he passes along to me while we're in council.
You're not supposed to tell people that.
But I wish him to best in caring for his family, and I also wish him to the best as he endeavors in his future.
Thanks, Paulette.
Thank you, Ms. Chambers.
Well, spilled the tea on me on the last day, huh? Spilling tea is giving rumors. Sorry, Charles.
You didn't learn that when you grandkids?
Don't you have grandkids? I was gonna say.
Okay.
Well, thank y'all again.
Yes, thank you. We're down to item number 26 because we can't call for an election until the seat is actually vacant the 1st of August. So we'll move down to item 26, other business from City Council. Anyone have any other business? Let me find my notes. Wanted to call attention to the fact that Food Bank is having a ribbon cutting, 8 o'clock Tuesday, July the 23rd. Everybody's invited. We're so pleased that they are actually already in service in a limited extent and working towards being fully staffed and ready to serve the community. Ribbon cutting, 8 o'clock Tuesday the 23rd. Also, the date for Recycle Fest has been set, Saturday, October 26th from 2 to 5. Recycle Fest downtown. I think it's going to be on Vine Street again. Does anybody remember, can confirm that? Where the Borough Fest was? Not sure?
Sure.
Okay. As we get closer, we will clarify. And then also, Paulette, I don't know if you want to highlight this, but the community garden that Paulette has been very active with, they're going to have an event over there at 6:30 on Tuesday, July the 23rd at the community garden here in Statesboro on Parker Street. Is there anything else you want to say about that, Paulette?
No, just happy that it's still up and running. I'm happy to see activity over there in that area.
Right. So we're all invited to go to that event on Tuesday, July the 23rd at 6:30. I think that was all that I had. So now we move down to Mr. Penny has some comments for us.
Thank you, Mayor, Madam Pro Tem, Mayor Pro Tem. I do want to say on behalf of myself to Mr. Boyd, Phil, I do appreciate the relationship that we've had over these 5 years. From a city manager standpoint, you really do challenge the city manager, so we appreciate that. But I guess they say iron sharpens iron, so.
Is that a nice way to say I'm hard-headed?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like 2 bulls in a china closet, we just have to.
Yeah, but look what we accomplished.
Well, we did a lot. We did a lot. And so I just think it's always important to have the difference of opinion, because that way we make sure we come out with good solutions. And so I think you will, I think you do well in whatever you do, because you really are a very smart person, and you have a thirst for learning, and that continuous learning is always important. And there's no question that when you provided leadership through GMA as chair, the training and all that stuff, and even Carl Vinson Institute uses you for training. So, we appreciate that. One thing I want to say is that the art park, I'm sorry we haven't had a chance to cut that ribbon yet, but we're going to get that done. Olympia and her team, we should have art installed before this month is out.
In the next 2 weeks, yeah.
Yes, and then we'll pick a date when you can be back in town for the ribbon cutting and dedication of the art park. And so,
Just for you, I talked to Olympia, excuse me, beforehand, and they've got a couple of things on order that need to come in beforehand, but we're looking at sometime mid to late September.
okay. And so, we're excited about that. And so I do have two things I need to mention to the council. First, I mentioned earlier the security enhancement incentive program. I do need a motion from the council to approve the use of $17,844.50 from interest earnings from the ARPA funds to fund that. And I will also say that uses up all the money that we have for this. Now, it doesn't mean we can't come back and fund some later, but we gotta earn some more interest.
You mean this takes care of all the interest, not principal?
Yes.
Right. Gotcha, okay, just give it there for a second.
Yeah, this is all the interest.
Okay.
Because of the houses we've been doing and all that. But we continue to earn some money, but for right now, all the safety incentive funds will be expended. But at some point, we might be able to add some more, okay?
Yes.
So I do need a motion to approve.
Right now?
Yes.
So move.
Second.
All in favor of approving the expenditure of another 17,400?
Aye.
$17,844.50.
Thank you. So the motion carries.
Okay, and thank you. And then there's one other item. I want to talk a little bit about but I'm going to spare y'all the presentation. One of the items that we want to talk about, since we didn't have a work session, the housing rehabilitation program, and Justin is here, can help me. We are moving forward and we've been expending funds. So far, you committed $5 million to get that done. And so we've been able to award 42 homes for rehabilitation and reconstruction. We've had 3 homes that were approved for reconstruction, and you approved 4 more that will be done. But doing this has not been easy. And one of the challenges that we run into when we are doing this is that sometimes people don't know they don't have clear titles until we are trying to do the deed of trust. And that has caused a lot of headaches. And it's also prevented people from being able to get their homes, either new homes or get homes renovated. And so, so that has caused a delay. And then when we started the program, we were right in that supply chain issue. And so that caused us to have to go out many times to get that done. But as of July 9th, the city has awarded approximately $3.1 million for rehab and administration out of the $5 million. There are a number of residents that did not have the opportunity to apply because we closed the applications. We received about 83 applications. So what we would like to do, we would like to open up the application process again. We will not, don't recommend leaving it open for a month. I think we're looking for 2 weeks, beginning when, Justin?
If you price this pending, say again, Justin?
ASAP.
That'll work too.
I would say, let's do it, we'll put notice out, make it effective Monday.
Yes, sir.
We'll open it on Monday and run it for 2 consecutive weeks. We think we probably can only do about 25 more homes with the money that we have left.
Rehab, not reconstruction.
Rehab, not reconstruction. We got 4 homes in reconstruction. Yes, good.
If you're gonna make it, oh, never mind, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go on. I I'm goofed.
Okay. So we want to open the application process back up. The other thing, we got that Get Senior Year program award, and we still are trying to learn all the details that go along with that. We had a call with the DCA staff today, and we know that we're going to get some extra points toward the low-income tax housing credit program, like the Bryant Landing project that's being done. There'll be another opportunity for that, but we're hopeful for some CDBG funds, and we're also hopeful for some CHIP funds. The CHIP funds we would hope would help us in rehabbing some of the new reconstruction projects that need to be done. The CDBG funds will be used to help rehab, but we need more than just one cycle. We need probably 10 cycles of funding through DCA. But I just wanted to mention that we're looking at that, seeing how we can expand that. The other thing, Insight has been phenomenal, very helpful in getting our policies in place, getting the write-ups done, doing the inspections. However, we are also running out of those funds. And so not tonight, but we want to bring to you an amendment to that contract so that we can continue to move forward. What we need to do is we have a tight time frame. We've got to get these projects, we got to get the houses selected, we got to get the write-ups done, and we got to have them under contract by December 31st, 2024. Even if it takes till December 31st, 2026 to get them done. In order that we don't have to send that ARPA money back, we've got to have that commitment done by the end of this year. And so I wanted to make y'all aware, and we'll bring back the agreement for the amendment a little bit later. And you're okay with us proceeding with opening up the application beginning on Monday of next week.
Paulette? You heard Mr. Penny and have no objection to reopening the application for rehabbing houses in Statesboro starting next Monday for 2 weeks. Are you there?
I think she might be frozen. Oh. She's back.
Hearing no objection, yes, sir.
I can hear you.
So you're in favor of that as well?
No objection.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Penny, is that it?
That's it, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. One thing I neglected to mention was the Downtown Live. We've got to do a shout out for that every time we gather because it's been fabulous. I've got lots of public feedback. I think I've been to most of them. Thank you, Olympia. Thank you, Public Works. Thank you, everybody who helps to make that happen because it's been a really fun event. I appreciate the partnership of being able to go in at the Averett when we got storm problems with the Swing of Medallions. The next one is not this week, but the next, or is it 2 weeks? August 8th. Okay. 7 o'clock downtown. Be there. Public comments. We do have 2 people who have signed up who would like to address the council. Call on Miss Julia Williams. Are you present, Miss Williams? We're kind of run late tonight. She might not have stayed with us. Miss Williams. Okay. We also have signed up to speak Don Armel. Don?
Yes.
Okay, nothing else to say? All right. Nobody else has signed up for public comment. Is there a need for an executive session? No? Okay. Well, then I'll consider a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
All right.